Hey guys, Farrell here. Today is just a quick update on taking the Thypoch Samara 28mm f1.4 to space. So this is the Thypoch Samara. I've shown it off in a previous video. I think it's a brilliant lens. I'm having a lot of fun with it. But I've taken some additional images, I've had a little bit more time with it, and I've got some further thoughts on it. So I just thought I'd share those today. This isn't a sponsored video at this point, it's just me yammering on about stuff I love. And unfortunately for you guys, I love gear, as I do know a lot of you do too. This video might look a little bit different. It is shot on a camera that I'll be announcing soon. So look forward to that and subscribe if you haven't to keep supporting my channel. Thank you. So, the Thypoch Samara 28mm f1.4 on Fujifilm. Firstly, I do think this is just one of the best looking lenses I've ever used on Fuji. I really do. And every time I let someone have a play with it, their first response is always the same. This is multiple times now. They turn the aperture ring and they're just amazed at how good it sounds. And everyone says, oh my God, is that ASMR or what? Every time, honestly, it's kind of weird. But just so you guys can see what I see, boom. That is my setup for today, nothing crazy. A few things I wanted to touch on with this. The build quality is insane. We know this, I spoke about it in the last video. But also I had a friend asking me how I managed to hit manual focus so consistently, so I explained it to him, and when I did, it made a lot more sense to him. So for those of you that want to get into manually focusing a lens like this or something else, whenever I turn it off, and I've spent years shooting film photography, so for me this does come second nature, but whenever I turn the camera off, I rack the focus to the right. Now that means it's at infinity. That means it's at the furthest away point. So when I then go to turn the camera on and get my subject in focus, I am pulling the focal plane towards my subject. So I see it coming from behind them, and then as soon as it locks on, I can take the image. And you can get used to doing this pretty quickly. So again, I've turned the camera off, I've racked it to the right, and that way I know it's at infinity. If I want to get quick, I turn it on, I rack it in, boom, we're in focus, okay? It's real quick. To a point, if you get more and more used to this, you will actually find that you can be quicker than a lot of autofocus systems out there. Now, I am not saying this is better than autofocus, but there's definitely a place for it, and there's definitely a feel of earning your images with it. If you hit 10, 20, 30 shots with autofocus, you know the camera's done the majority of the work for you. If you hit 5 shots with manual focus, I guarantee if they're keepers, you'll feel so much more pride knowing that you've actually worked a little bit more for those images. While we were at the National Space Centre, I actually had people come up to me and say, is this a vintage DSLR? Because it does kind of look it. I ain't making this up. I was in a queue for one of the exhibitions and a guy had a chat to me about how nice this camera looked and how it reminded him of some of his old cameras. And I've had a few people come up to me since I've had this lens on the camera where it's actually started conversation, which is quite a testament to how pretty this lens and camera combo looks. Again, yes, as I said in my previous video, this comes in a range of different mounts. You know, watch that video for all the specs and everything like that. But I do think these Samara lenses on the Fuji bodies, there's a look there and it looks absolutely brilliant. It really does. That lens hood also, as my wife said, it looks photoshopped into every image. It looks that good and that clean. I thought that was quite high praise, so she enjoys it. My wife has actually been able to hit manual focus on me with this camera, with this lens. My wife will tell you openly she is terrible at manual focus. She misses almost all the cameras that she tries to manual focus with, all the cameras and lenses, she misses. With this, she's managed to get me in focus multiple times. I'm a little bit surprised. I don't know why it is, I can't explain it, but even compared to my Leica Q2, which has an amazing manual focus experience and a fantastic viewfinder experience, she hits manual focus more consistently with this. Now, while we were at the National Space Centre, I did get to mess around and get some really, really nice images of some of the different kind of rockets that they've got on display. And while I've been using this lens in general, I've been able to get some really nice use of the close-up function. So again, I mentioned in the previous video, the close-up on this is 0.4 of a meter. Now, routinely for something that's based on an M-style camera, it would actually be 0.7 of a meter. So this does punch in a little closer. I personally find that very useful when doing portraiture shoots. Sometimes you want to get a little bit in closer to your model. And outside of that, I touched on it briefly in my last video, but I think this is one of the best 40mm lenses you can get on the Fujifilm system. I know you're a little confused by that. I've said it's a 28mm 1.4 and I've just called it a 40mm. Now again, we've got to bear in mind this is made for a full frame camera. Fujifilm is not full frame. Fujifilm is crop sensor. You can buy full frame versions of this lens, but if you're buying the Fujifilm version, you are buying a full frame lens that has been made to fit the crop sensor camera. So with the crop value, that takes the 28mm to 42mm. So we are seeing 42mm. So you're only getting a portion of that central image, which means you're getting the sharpest area of the image. This also affects our aperture value. While it says f1.4 on the lens, and while it takes in the light of an f1.4 lens, it's actually equivalent to a f2 lens when we're using the APS-C crop. So on an APS-C sensor, this is a 42mm f2 lens. Still brilliant, still sharp, still a lovely lens to work with, but a little bit different than what you might be used to. So I do think it's one of the most fun 40mm experiences we can have on the Fuji system. But again, don't buy this thinking you're buying a 28mm lens for Fuji. So I hope you've enjoyed some of these images from the National Space Centre. If you do want to buy this lens, if you buy it through my affiliate links, there is a little bit of a discount in there for you. I'll put a code down below, I believe it's 5% discount, so feel free to use that. If you do, I get a tiny bit of kickback, it's a couple of pounds or something, but it will go towards helping the channel and I'll greatly appreciate it. And I know some of you guys that have watched this channel before, I've regularly moaned about having big hands and how certain cameras can feel particularly uncomfortable in them. This together, I've actually really got used to the size and the weight. I think it's just such a lovely combination. This size and weight combination, while it is front heavy on the Fuji, and while I am currently using the Fuji without any grip or anything like that, I do think it's a really nice balance, especially, and people aren't really talking about this, but especially where you put your finger for your focus tab. Now again, if you want to do a pinch style focus, if you want to do an over the barrel style focus, or if you do like I do, and a finger in the tab style focus, this particularly, if I get your side profile there, this is such a nice length. Might be better this way. Yeah, I think that looks better. I'll get my hand out of the way, but literally that is so perfect size-wise. Again, it is a heavier lens. It is a bigger lens, but it's such an enjoyable experience. I really enjoyed taking it to the National Space Centre. I really, really enjoyed the low light performance of this combination. Honestly, the low light of the Fujifilm X-Trans 4 sensor with this lens was just an absolute dream. So, if you enjoyed this video, drop me a like, we'll have a chat down in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video because there's a few coming up very soon. All right, see you next time. Peace.